Namaste Bitya, Anisha for Shao Bitya. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JV and Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine, and Faculty of Homeopathic Science at Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about rheumatic heart disease. Rheumatic heart disease is a condition in which the heart valves have been permanently damaged by rheumatic fever. So first of all, there is a condition of rheumatic fever that can be acute rheumatic fever, and this is leading to the damage of heart valves, and this damage is usually permanent. The heart valve damage starts shortly after untreated or undertreated streptococcal infection, such as streptococcal throat or scarlet fever. Acute rheumatic fever usually affects the children and young adults. So it affects the children and the young adults, usually of the age group 5 to 15 years of age. It is the most common cause of acquired heart disease in childhood and adolescence. It is an immune-mediated delayed response to infection with specific strains of group A streptococci. The antibodies produced against the streptococcal antigen causes inflammation in the endocardium, myocardium, and pericardium, as well as the joints and skin. Hertshoff nodules are pathognomonic and occurs only in the heart. These are multinucleated giant cells that are surrounded by macrophages and T lymphocytes. Now, let's first of all understand what is acute rheumatic fever that is leading to the development of rheumatic heart disease. Acute rheumatic fever is a multisystem disease that is resulting from autoimmune reaction to the infection with the group A streptococcus. It usually affects the children, most commonly between the age group of 5 to 15 years, and young adults. Recurrent episodes of acute rheumatic fever remain relatively common in adolescent and young adults. Acute rheumatic fever usually presents with following things: fever, anorexia, there is lethargy, joint pains, and these are 2 to 3 weeks after the episode of streptococcal pharyngitis. So we have fever, we have anorexia, lethargy, joint pains, and these are developing 2 to 3 weeks after the episodes of streptococcal pharyngitis. There can be no history of sore throat with arthritis that is occurring in 75% of the patients. Other features include rashes, carditis, and neurological changes. So we have rashes, carditis, and neurological changes. Now, how to diagnose such a case? The diagnosis of acute rheumatic fever can be made using the revised Jones criteria. So what is Jones criteria? The diagnosis is made by there are two kinds of criteria in the Jones criteria. There are major criteria and there are minor criteria. So if the patient is present with 2 or more major manifestations, or 1 major or 2 or more minor manifestations, along with the evidence of preceding streptococcal infection, that can lead to the diagnosis of acute rheumatic fever. Now, what are the major manifestations? The major manifestations of Jones criteria includes carditis, polyarthritis, chorea, erythema marginatum, and subcutaneous nodules. I will again repeat the major manifestations: carditis, polyarthritis, chorea, erythema marginatum, and subcutaneous nodules. Now we come to the minor manifestations. The minor manifestations includes the fever, arthralgia, previous rheumatic fever, raised ESR and CRP, leukocytosis, and first degree AV block. I will again repeat the minor manifestations. These are the fever, arthralgia, previous rheumatic fever, raised ESR or CRP, leukocytosis, and first degree AV block. The supporting evidence of preceding streptococcal infection consists of recent scarlet fever, raised ASLO titer, that is anti-streptolysin O titer, other streptococcal antibody titer, and positive throat culture. Now, this is the Jones criteria. It can simply be learned by Jones-Caffey-Pal. This is the Jones criteria that can be learned by simple technique JONES-CAFE-PAL. That is Jones-Caffey-Pal. In the major criteria, it is represented by JONES, where J means joint involvement, O means looks like heart, myocarditis, N means nodules, that are subcutaneous nodules, E is erythema marginatum, and S is Sydenham chorea. The minor criteria is CAFE-PAL, CAFE-PAL, where C stands for C-reactive protein increased, CRP increased, A is arthralgia, F is fever, and E is the elevated ESR. PAL is the prolonged PR interval, A is anamnesis of rheumatism, and L is the leukocytosis. So the diagnosis is confirmed by two major criteria, or one major and two minor criteria, along with the throat swab showing GADHS or elevated ASLO titer. Now the other clinical features consist of carditis, that is pericarditis, that involves the endocardium, myocardium, and the pericardium to the varying degree. It manifests as breathlessness, palpitations, or chest pain. The other features include tachycardia, cardiac enlargement, and the new or changed cardiac murmurs. A soft systolic murmur due to the mitral regurgitation is very common. A soft mid-diastolic murmur, that is the Kerry-Coombs murmur, is due to valvulitis with nodules forming on the mitral valve leaflets. There can be aortic regurgitation. Arthritis. It is the most common major manifestation that is characterized by acute painful, symmetrical or migratory inflammation of the large joints that typically affects the knees, ankles, elbows, and the wrist. The joints are involved in quick succession and are usually red, swollen, tender for between a day and 4 weeks. There are various skin lesions like erythema marginatum that occurs in less than 5% of the patients. The lesions start as red macules or blotches that fade in the center but remain red at the edges and occur mainly on the trunk and proximal extremities, but not on the face. The resulting red rings or margins may coalesce or overlap. The subcutaneous nodules occur in 5 to 7% of the patients. They are small, 0.5 to 2 centimeter, firm and painless, and are best felt over the extensor surfaces of the bone and tendon. They appear more than 3 weeks after the onset of other manifestations. Now, next one is the Sydenham chorea. Sydenham chorea, or the St. Vitus dance. It is a late neurological manifestation that appears at least 3 months after the episodes of acute rheumatic fever. Emotional lability is the first feature and is typically followed by purposeless, involuntary, choreiform movements of the hands, feet, and face. The speech may become explosive and halting. The spontaneous recovery usually occurs within few months. These are the clinical features, other clinical features, which include Sydenham chorea or the St. Vitus dance. We have prior sore throat. There are features of carditis, which includes dyspnea, syncope, pericarditis, Kerry-Coombs murmur, aortic or mitral regurgitation or heart block. There can be subcutaneous nodules, pitting polyarthritis plus arthralgias. There is edema, heart failure, erythema marginatum, and fever. Now, what are the various investigations that could be done? The investigations includes leukocytosis with raised ESR and CRP. There is throat swab culture with a group of A beta hemolytic streptococci, anti-streptolysin O antibodies, chest X-ray, cardiomegaly, pulmonary congestion. We have ECG, that is first degree AV block, echocardiography with a cardiac dilatation, and valve abnormalities. The management consists of benzyl penicillin intramuscular, oral phenoxymethylpenicillin. We have bed rest and supportive therapy that it lessens the joint pain and reduces the cardiac workload. There is heart failure that can be improved by pacemaker insertion, aspirin to relieve the symptoms of arthritis, and corticosteroids like prednisolone, rapid symptomatic relief, and aspirin. Now the topic is chronic rheumatic heart disease. Now chronic rheumatic heart disease is a chronic valvular heart disease that develops in at least half of those who are affected with rheumatic fever with carditis. It is more common in women. The mitral valve is affected in more than 90% of the cases. The valve disease may be symptomatic during fulminant forms of acute rheumatic fever. Pathology. The main pathological process in chronic rheumatic heart disease is progressive fibrosis. The heart valves are predominantly affected, but involvement of the pericardium and myocardium may contribute to a heart failure and conduction disorders. The fusion of the mitral valve commissures and shortening of chorda tendineae may result into mitral stenosis with or without regurgitation. This is the anatomy of the mitral valve. It shows mitral leaflets, mitral annulus, the commissure, the chorda tendineae, and the papillary muscles. Now, similar changes in the aortic and tricuspid valves produces distortion and rigidity of the cusps, leading to stenosis and regurgitation. Once the valve has been damaged, the altered hemodynamic stresses perpetuate and extend the damage even in the absence of continuing rheumatic processes. So this was all about rheumatic heart disease. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about peripheral vascular diseases. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box and I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. We will be meeting in the next lecture tomorrow.